Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Matthew, how you doing?
We got our 80, so I'm doing better now. I was really
Was there any doubt?
Really struggling with who those last two were.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Ike Live?
I watched bits and pieces of it, man. I just caught chunks.
I sent Brian a Carpenter, the producer of that show, the old text there, I think, when the clock struck about 11:30 and said, "Are you guys trying to set a record for the longest live stream ever?"
Pretty long.
And then at the end, he freezes and doesn't say, and then he comes out with MLF the next day to make number 80. And then the following day, MLF comes out with the MLF Bass Pro Tour Anglers with big, bold red lettering and an exclamation point underneath it, the world's strongest lineup.
Well, you know, they're trying to capture some attention. Now, we've got a good show today. We're going to talk to Brett Hite. And part of the reason why we're going to have him on is in 2 weeks, an epic event takes place in the U.S. every single year called the U.S. Open. We talk about it on this show quite a bit, but we want to kind of tee things up for everybody. If there is somebody out there that has never heard about the U.S. Open, over the next, 30 minutes that we talk with Brett Hite, hopefully you will get a good indication of what the U.S. Open is all about.
It actually starts in 11 days. It's actually a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 15th, 16th, and 17th of October. Rick Clunn has called it the toughest tournament to win. Byron Velvick has won it. Cliff Perch has won it. Oh, John Murray, I think. John Murray's won it, hasn't he? I had a list of all the winners.
I think so.
A bunch of the guys, plus all those guys that are like Yetis for everyone out east that like you hear about but you never see.
Yeah.
They're all there.
Johnny Johnson.
I'm super excited to meet him because I'm fishing it as a AAA-er this year. I got a chance to draw one of these guys that I've heard about.
Johnny Johnson rocks, man. We had him on the show.
He's
freaking awesome.
You can go watch some of his shows on YouTube. He's had a show forever out there.
Yeah,
all the guys have been on. I'm sure Brett's been on it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the U.S. Open. Obviously, we're gonna talk about everything else that's taking place in the professional bass fishing world. But Matthew, I was thinking last night, right, on my drive home from basketball practice, I was thinking about something. And you know me, I always like to look at it from a
negative?
No, from a different perspective of, in the grand scheme of things, what does this mean? And I think everybody realizes the ramifications of what has taken place. But I've heard this over and over and over and over about how this is going to grow the sport. And quite honestly, I think it's one of the most overused phrases in this game is grow the sport, grow the sport, grow the sport. Fine. Okay, I get it. I understand why people say that. I understand why they're comparing everything to how this game needs to grow. I get it. Yes, it does need to grow. So in thinking about that on my way home last night, and this is where I'm going to need the viewers and the listeners. I'm going to need their help, Matthew. All right? I would like to know if anybody out there has ran across in their local media, be it television or newspaper, television or print, or if anybody has ran across anything on the internet, because last night I tried to find something. I couldn't find anything. Now, maybe that's just me because maybe I was typing in the wrong search or something like that. But from an impact perspective, what this situation has created in this game, I have not seen a word from any outside media.
You're talking a News Gazette, an LA Times,
anything
to where you open either the business section or the sports section. And,
am I wrong?
And it's on the front page, and you're going, major shakeup in professional fishing.
Yes.
This has happened. A new tour is starting, completely unrelated outside of a bass fan wired to fish.
Yes,
completely unrelated.
Have you seen anything, Matthew?
I have not.
Is my point well taken?
Your point is well taken without any further explanation, Mark.
All I'm saying is you have two things that have taken place over the past 2 weeks. You have the decimation of an iconic brand in bass.
I wouldn't go that far yet.
You lose 60 to 80% of your field that has been around for a good number of years.
But you're also losing 68 out of 500,000 members.
The brand has suffered. You cannot deny that.
I agree with that. I don't know if the word decimation of Bass is applicable 2 weeks into this
Let
thing.
me rephrase that. The decimation of the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Decimated.
Wrong choice of terms. But the brand has been damaged, correct?
Absolutely.
All right.
I don't think you'll find anybody who would argue with that.
The second thing is you have what has been classified as the strongest, greatest field ever.
No, lineup. They didn't use field. They used the word lineup.
Okay,
and
I'm
we're just
sorry.
going to be technical here.
All right. This is probably the biggest thing to happen in professional fishing since the announcement when ESPN bought Bass. Now, I can recall there were a number of financial media outlets that picked up on the story when that occurred. You can go back and there's some that are actually still archived. But with this, I have yet to find anything. And you have two multi-billion-dollar corporations that are involved in this. This is a huge deal for Bass Pro Shops. Do you not agree, Matthew?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, it might be a minor thing, very minor thing in the world of cronky sports entertainment.
Still, as in Bass Pro Shops as a whole, it's still a small thing. But I think it's a big thing because Johnny Morris is directly involved in this. He has been in the meetings. He has vested into this. He has put his time there at Big Cedar Lodge. So, yes, it is big for Bass Pro Shops.
It is big. It is billions of dollars resulting in sales and everything else. Everything that Johnny Morris has done from a financial perspective in this game is iconic from a financial perspective.
Yes.
The way that he is maneuvering and the way that he is managing his assets and his portfolio of what this man owns, yes, this is newsworthy. But I have not seen a peep, not even a blurb in this whatever, the Hoboken business section of their newspaper. I don't understand why.
Maybe it's all over Alabama. Maybe it's all over Texas.
That's what I want the listeners, the viewers, if you could email me a link where from a business perspective, this entire situation that has taken place over the last 2 weeks, I want to see if there's been anything talked about, discussed, mentioned outside of the bass fishing media.
That's a very good point.
All right.
How about
the premise of so much that they've talked about? When I say they, I'm talking about both bass and Major League Fishing, but specifically Major League Fishing, is the opportunity that they have to expand the game to the fans that are outside this industry.
Let me read the first or the second sentence in the press release that MLF put out.
Yeah.
This goes back to the first thing that you said during the show. It said the final list was made public during an MLF meeting that was held this week at Big Cedar Lodge with several of its sponsors and anglers present to discuss plans in follow-up to the league's recent announcement of a significant expansion for the purpose of growing the sport. That's their second paragraph in the latest press release. So I would say that growing the sport is rather important to them based on how much they've stressed it. So your point is well taken, and it has crossed my mind, and I do find it very interesting. Now, I don't know if the Tulsa World or Kelly's done anything over there on that. He's usually up on top of his stuff. He does great articles.
But that's not what I'm talking about, man. I'm talking about in the
that,
financial
but I haven't
section.
seen anything like that either.
Yeah.
No, I mean even the guys who write about it, I haven't.
Yeah.
It's.
I thought maybe I had my fingers crossed. I thought just a glimpse of hope that a blurb may have came over CNBC.
Maybe before they distribute this to the masses, maybe before they go to CNBC, to NBC, to the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and all this, they want to get everything nailed down, and then they'll get the field nailed down, they'll get the format nailed down, they'll get everything in place. and then it'll be a news blitz. Maybe they just are distributing this within the industry now to get it talking about. And then once everything is together, once the plans are finalized, the field is set, the schedule is out, the payouts, they voted on everything, they've got it all together. It's a neat package that the average everyday Joe who's reading the business section can then go and understand it. Maybe that's when the news blitz happens. Maybe we're just in it early. We're in the nitty gritty. We're talking about it before it hits the mainstream.
But to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I'm just playing devil's
possibility?
advocate.
Absolutely. All right. But this thing is huge. And it's a huge financial buy-in from Johnny Morris, who's one of the richest people in America, who has built a financial empire because of the way that he does business. And maybe he's calling the shots. Maybe he has fine, excellent people in place that said, nope, not going to say a word, don't want any outside media.
Based on what Duckett said, he doesn't own any of it. He's a sponsor, right? Is that what Duckett said?
But I'm looking at it from a marketing and from a financial. Is his name all over it? Is Bass Pro Shops all over it?
To clarify, that is what Duckett said, right?
I don't know.
I thought he did.
I don't know.
I might be wrong there.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Go back and listen. That's,
I don't remember
what he said.
But is he involved?
100%.
Absolutely. Is it a vital part? Why would he spend all the money?
Viable, not vile.
No, I said vital.
Oh, vital.
Yes.
Okay.
Vital. Is it a vital part of doing what they continue to say, which is growing the sport?
Yes, but maybe they want to make sure before they attempt to grow the sport that the avenues are in place for the sport to grow instead of people to get really confused.
Are the avenues not in place?
No, there's still a lot of unknowns.
Dude, I'm telling you, the financial
people
people.
Know where they're fishing or the format they're fishing on.
Listen to me. The financial people and the general public, they couldn't give a rat's ass about that. They really couldn't.
Right, but they're going to give less of a rat's ass if they can't figure out in 30 seconds what's exactly going on.
And you don't think that they have enough information right now that in a 200-word blip or a 30-second news blip on CNBC,
your point's well taken,
that they can't figure out what the hell's going on?
Your point is very well taken.
So if there is anything out there, folks, please, I want to see it. Send me an email, mark@bassown.com, and I will make sure that I give props to those news outlets that have covered this story from a financial perspective and from a fishing perspective that are not part of the bass fishing media.
In the same breath, have you seen anything in that exact same news about the restructuring of bass and the greater opportunity for the anglers there and all the things that bass did too?
No. I mentioned that at the beginning when I went on this conversation, that I was really talking about both.
Okay.
I mean, you have a structuring, maybe restructuring, but you have a new structure that is going to be in place for an iconic brand in bass. And maybe there has been, because we've seen it. I've seen it numerous times in Alabama. There's been numerous stories that have been published in the local media there. But from a financial perspective, is there any, or are there any stories or reports on what has taken place? And for a lot of people out there, you may not understand the power and the financial influence that Stan Kroenke has. I mean, this dude, he's big time.
Just Google him and Google Stan Kroenke picture and look at him and you go, that looks like an influential billionaire.
He is big time. And I'm sure he's had lunch with Warren Buffett before.
He's on our show Tuesday, right?
Who's that?
Kroenke?
I don't think so.
No? Guess what I did on the way here?
What'd you do?
I listened to Scott Martin's latest YouTube drop.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Just him talking for like 8 minutes about the industry and everything, saying, hey, I didn't get an invite to MLF. And there's a couple guys. I liked what Strader had to say. Obviously, I talked about how important what I thought Polinick had to say. Swindles was an interesting one. And Scott Martin's. That's worth a listen. It's not a video clickbait type of thing. It's just him sitting in front of a desk talking. Talks about some interesting stuff. He's very influential in the industry.
And
influential with social media.
And didn't get an invite.
No. I'm just saying that's a good listen. If you want to get a perspective from a top 5 angler, a top 3 angler.
Yeah.
As far as influence and reach, I would say the top angler. And FLW history. Fair assessment there, Mark?
Fair. Very fair. Hey, dude, I don't know, man.
Here's what I was wanting to talk about, and we never actually got to it, and I haven't actually got to talk to you off air about it. So I'll just bring it up on air. When did we do that deal last year, Mark, where it was this was before all this went down. Remember, it was wildly popular. Gave away the prize pack for the caller that we thought was the best. You set up a 1-800 line. You said, hey, this is Mark. We want your thoughts. Was it your thoughts on the industry?
We need to do that again.
Your thoughts on the industry. You opened it up for a 2-week period. They could call into the hotline to get your take. I sat down, spent, I can't believe I'm even saying this. Now I remember thinking back on it. Sifting through hundreds of calls.
We're going to do that again. That is a great idea.
Put a banner right there on the BTL, and you can just call in. You have 60 seconds. That's all you have to give your thoughts as a whole. Got an email from fans who want their voices heard on it. Obviously, on social media, this stuff gets lost. There's tons of threads. There's a bunch of stuff going on. But, we don't do the call-ins anymore where we take calls like we used to. But I gotten a couple requests from emails from guys who are listening. I think you do that, and then the best one, I know you said you wanted to set up some prize pack in the future.
Yeah.
I think this next week, obviously, we won't have regular BTL shows because I will be at the U.S. Open.
We'll have
you will
best
be
of
covering the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
But I think we open it up for a week while we're gone for the U.S. Open. Y'all have a chance to call. I just said y'all. I'm from Illinois. I've been in Oklahoma since 2005 now, and that's the first y'all that I've ever dropped.
Wow. Recorded live.
You all have a chance to call in, leave your 60-second opinion. I'll sift through, put an 8-minute deal best of. We'll come back, and then if your call is selected, we'll bring you on BTL.
All right. Another point that I was trying to make with this whole conversation, Matthew, how cool would it have been to see Boyd Duckett on Good Morning America or on CNBC or something like that?
Maybe that's coming.
Maybe it is. Mm-hmm. But once again, I think in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to open this up, which they've said from day one, the premise is to expand to an audience that is outside the small swimming pool that we are in, how cool would it have been when the field was, boom, you got your 80 names, Boyd Duckett is going to be on Good Morning America. Are going to be on the Today Show.
That might very well be coming,
CNBC.
Mark. There's still so many unknowns. What does it value to come in and go, yeah, we got these 80 guys, but we got a lot of stuff to figure out yet. Why not wait till it's all nailed down and done?
We've already argued that point. There is plenty of information that the outside group of fans or potential fans, they don't care about that. They're going to think it's cool. They're fishing for almost $9.5 million.
Okay, so there has been a couple things.
Yeah, I threw a couple things out there. So please keep them in. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get what did I call that? I don't even remember what I called it. What was that feature called?
We can go back and do it.
All right, basically we're going to set it up again, and if you didn't take part or know about it before, basically it's going to be a toll-free number that you can call in, leave a voicemail, voice your opinion on what has taken place over the last 2-3 weeks in the professional bass fishing game, and then we will put them together and we will actually showcase selected calls in one of our BTL shows when we get back from the U.S. Open.
Sounds good.
All right. We are ready to talk about the U.S. Open and talk to Mr. Brett Hite. And we need to take a break. But anything else, I do want to mention this real quick, Matthew. The other thing, I am going to run another situation where I am going to give stuff away. I'm giving stuff away again. Okay? 2 things are going to happen. For those people on iTunes, for those people that are listening to iTunes, anybody that has went in and rated us, gave us a rating, and then did a, what do you call it?
Left a comment?
A review of what Matthew and I are doing here on BTL. From day one that we went on iTunes all the way through today's date, which is October 4th, somebody that has submitted a rating and review is going to get a $200 tackle pack. $200 tackle pack. All right? Then from this day forward, over the next 2 weeks, while we're at the U.S. Open, next 10 days, whatever it is, I'm going to give away a $300 tackle pack. So $500 worth of tackle is going to be given away over the next couple of weeks. So all you have to do is listen to us on iTunes. Go in. If you haven't previously gave us a rating and review, go in, do that. Good, bad, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't knock a star off just because Jeffries has started to call me Matthew. We'll handle that off the air.
All right? Rate us, give us a review, and then from October 4th on, I will randomly select one of those reviews, and we will announce it on the show when we get back from the U.S. Open, and I will send you a $300 tackle pack. For those people that have already reviewed us and gave us a rating, you will have a shot at a... What did I say? $250 or
$300?
$200?
It was $200 if you've already reviewed it. You're
$200.
randomly going to do it because it's stupid to do the contest where if you're already listening and reviewed, you can't win anything.
Right. That's why. Okay.
200 from the 280 comments are rankings and stuff we already have.
Right.
And then if you're new, the cutoff from today to the next $300.
So $500 going to be given away. All right. And then the second thing I want to mention real quick, dude, last night, opening night, the NHL season, did you happen to catch the blowout in Washington?
No.
It was crazy. 7-0, Capitals go out, they score 2 goals in a matter of a minute 40. And then when they scored the 7th goal, absolutely pissed off the Boston Bruins. And whoever, I don't remember who scored the 7th goal, but they went after him. And nice little skirmish there.
Nice.
After a 7-0 lead. But very, very excited to have the NHL back. And, man, the crowds in the NHL, they are doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, the NHL's been on like a 5 or 6 year between the Hockey Town stuff that they're doing with Jeremy Roenick and the grassroots stuff and the outdoor rink series. They realized they had a problem and worked on it.
Up to that game, I watched the documentary. Have you seen this, Behind the Glass?
No.
Oh, dude, you have got to check it out.
What is it on NHL channel?
It is. No. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
It is Behind the Glass.
I'm gonna have to watch it here, then.
It is the New Jersey Devils training camp. And it is awesome. The behind-the-scenes stuff, they actually go into the general manager's office when they either get signed, they get picked, or they get sent down to Rochester or wherever it is. But some of the locker room scenes, they're mic'd up during camp, on the ice. It's just incredible documentary series.
Hockey players are a classy group.
I'm very, very
who else
entertained.
is classy? Someone who has some unfinished business at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Over the past 5 years, he's finished 3rd.
Yeah.
He's finished 2nd. He's got the flat brim. He's one of those West Coast guys. And we got him on next. It's Brett Hite.
All right, everybody stay tuned. Coming back with Mr. Hite. All right, we are back. Mark and Matt in studio on a Thursday. OU Texas this weekend, man.
I know. I've got the Thunderbird Championship on Lake Eufaula. Now, it's 20 boats, and I don't know why we fished the Thunderbird Championship on Lake Eufaula. But here's the kicker, Mark. You pay into it all year.
Yeah.
And there's a Calcutta.
Very nice.
So the 2-day 20, you got a chance to win about $5-6 grand for first place. I leave the day after it's over, Monday, for the U.S. Open out there with Brad Hallman. So the game plan is to roll into Eufaula, get some pocket money, pay for the U.S. Open trip, have about $500 for the casino.
And then go out there and hit 777.
And then go out there, hit 777, win the AAA, and now I've got my nest egg. I feel like it's a foolproof plan. I don't know how it will not work out, Mark.
Your 401k is based upon those three numbers.
How will it not work out?
It's not a 401k. It's a 777k.
And I'm playing with free money.
Oh, geez. All right, let's bring him in. Brett, you there?
I got you guys. How you doing?
All right, doing well, man. I don't think that's a great idea for Matthew to base his retirement on winning the U.S. Open
on the AAA.
On the AAA side, and then going to the casino and throwing it down on black or red.
Yeah, I think he should probably keep the camera on his shoulder and get the steady money.
There you have it.
Are you a gambler? Do you like to play a blackjack or the slots or roulette?
No, I don't gamble. I gamble on myself every day I go out on the water.
It's fair statement.
So,
I know a lot of the guys are like, a lot of the fishermen have an issue. Not an issue, but they like to gamble too because they believe in themselves. They believe it's going to happen. They believe they're going to catch a 5-pounder. They believe they're going to hit the 777.
Yeah, but I what I do know is the house majority of the time they win. So
are we talking about the fishing part or the casino part here, Brad?
the casino part.
Okay.
All right, Brett, we want to obviously get your take on everything that has went down over the past 2-3 weeks, so we'll kind of jump into that. But at the same time, the real reason why we wanted to have you on is the U.S. Open, 10 days away. We want to talk about that and kind of hopefully give people an idea of what the U.S. Open is all about for those that have never been a part of it or never really heard about it. But let's jump in there first. Just kind of give us your thoughts on everything that's taken place over the past 2-3 weeks.
Oh, well, if I didn't have unlimited minutes on my phone, it would be skyrocketed on my minutes. I've been on the phone a lot, not necessarily this week, but last week. Just a lot of exciting things. I mean, big shakeup in the tournament bass world. Obviously, MLF's come out with the Bass Pro Tour, and it looks like we got a pretty strong field moving over there. I think 68 or 70 guys from the elites moved over there, and then the rest from FLW. So, like I said at the beginning of all this, no matter what happens, the anglers are going to benefit from it, and as you guys have seen with payouts and kind of extra bonuses, that's exactly what's happened.
Was this a tough decision for you?
Yeah, it's always a tough decision. It's your livelihood, it's your family. It's always tough leaving something that you've, come accustomed to or comfortable with, and go into something that's kind of the unknown. But after looking at everything and just kind of came to the conclusion that the way it was going, it's just been kind of stagnant, and the room for growth with MLF is just it's off the chart.
Cool.
All right, man. Let's talk about the U.S. Open. What does the U.S. Open mean to you?
It's been a traditional tournament that's been around. Since like the late 70s, growing up here in the West, it was always it's a big tournament, and and you talk to the guys like a Rick Clunn or Gary Klein or John Murray. Those guys always look forward to that tournament, from the early 70s. So it's a tournament that's been around. It's an iconic tournament. It's on Lake Mead, which it's it's an awesome fishing lake, but it's grueling in another way. It can be grueling conditions. Fishing's it can be good, but it can be tough too. So I mean, that's kind of what a U.S. Open's all about. It's always been held on Lake Mead. We've kind of changed the dates and time of year, but and things are always changing, especially with I think Lake Mead, it's only down about 130 feet, Matt. So I don't even think you have that much line on your rod. So normally you wouldn't even get to the bottom where we're fishing. But it's a neat tournament. It's a shared co-angler event. So we if Matt happens to draw me, which I mean he's going to have to pay some people to do that. If he happens to draw me, him and I go fishing for one day, and we catch our best 5 between the two of us, and so it's a shared team co-angler weight, and then it's over 3 days. So it kind of gets the co-angler more involved, and we work as a team.
Do you feel like you have some unfinished business? Obviously, last year, following all of the goings-ons, I've already used y'all this show. I'm trying to stay away from other things like that. Justin Patty won, but you were right there. Big day on day 2, had a big bass on day 3, and it came down to less than a pound for the U.S. Open title. And then obviously going back to 2013, I guess that's not obvious because most people probably don't know who finished 3rd in 2013 in the U.S. Open, but it was you. So you've got a 2nd and a 3rd. How much do you want to get that 1st this year?
It's just one of those titles that you always would love to have on your resume. So the last 13 was the last time I fished up until last year. So hopefully I'm just moving up the ladder and I just have one more step to get that title. But it's a tough tournament. We got 225 entries this year, I believe. So it's never an easy just a catch fest. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be tough. The weather can be grueling. So we're just going to put our head down and go fishing on Lake Mead like I learned how to do a long time ago. And it just, I have a tendency to do real well there fishing those Colorado River lakes.
Brent, from a toughness standpoint, I hear guys say it all the time. It's one of the toughest events that are available to anybody that wants to fish tournaments. For those people that may not be aware of what Lake Mead is like, what is the difficulty factor when it comes to Lake Mead, especially in mid-October?
Yeah, what's funny is if you and I went fishing there this last week, you would say, "Oh man, this place is amazing." But after you get that many boats on the water, even though it is a gigantic reservoir, it just shows the pressure. You have a lot of anglers. They feel the need to go practice for 2 and 3 weeks prior to the tournament, and things change. And after they decide to try to catch every bass in the lake, the week prior to the tournament, and then they wonder why they're not there and why the fishing's got tough. So hopefully one of these days we're going to actually have an off limits, and I think it'll actually help the lake show itself a lot better. But for how big it is, it does get a lot of pressure. And what is nice about Lake Mead is it's very versatile. You could fish shallow grass, or you could fish out deep. You can power fish, or you can finesse fish. So it's versatile in that sense, which it kind of spreads out the field and lets guys kind of do what they want to do.
Talk about the 200 plus boats. I was kind of scrolling through last year's field and where everyone was from. The angler from Homer, Alaska kind of stuck out to me, finished in the mid 80s. But you're talking 90 99% of these guys are West Coast guys. Nevada, Utah, Idaho, California, that type of stuff. I mean, I just saw Texas, Missouri.
What about Arizona?
Yeah,
what
Arizona. Did I not say that? I thought I said that first.
Thank you.
Arizona, obviously. Matt Stefan from Wisconsin. I think Upshaw Fisher from Oklahoma. Brad Hallman is. But this is vastly majority on the West Coast. Therefore, not followed incredibly close by a lot of guys on the East Coast and down there in that Alabama region. How big of a deal is this for the guys out there on the West Coast leading into this? I mean, is there a bunch of hype? Is everyone in your neck of the woods talking about the U.S. Open and how it's shaken up and leading into this almost like a Bassmaster Classic is in Alabama?
No, not quite that, but yeah, I mean, people look forward to it. People look forward to it. Definitely, it's something to look forward, for the West Coast fishermen. All year, people look forward to it. Between this tournament and the FLW Costa Series, those are our biggest events out here, and it's just not economical for guys to travel to go, from the West Coast to go fish another Costa or a Bass Open or something like that. So this is just another pretty good tournament that's in our, in our back pocket over here, and that we're all familiar with.
Who are a couple guys who people need to watch out for that don't fish on one of the that's the first time I'll say this, 3 major tours?
Who's somebody that they should watch out for?
No, who's a couple of guys? Who's a couple of guys? I mean, you hear about all these guys on the West Coast. Who's not fishing one of the 3 major tours?
Johnny Johnson,
who's going to be a player in the U.S. Open. I mean, Justin Patty won it. I've seen a bunch of names up here that look familiar, but that don't fish on one of the major tours. Now, who, in your opinion, are some of the guys who are going to do well here who don't fish on one of the major tours?
Yeah, one of them is Wade Strelick. He does good every year there. I've known him since he was a little kid. Really just a good up-and-coming fisherman. And, he's usually always in that top 20 somewhere in there, and, a lot of time in that top 10 at the U.S. Open. So another guy, Rusty Selesky, who has fished the FLW Tour, just one of those Lake Mead guys, and of course you got to think of somebody like a Justin Kerr, who has previously won the U.S. Open, and is still just always somebody to be reckoned with on that Colorado River region. So those are my couple picks.
All right. Would you rather win the U.S. Open this year or win the first MLF Tour event in January?
First MLF Tour in January.
All right, because he won his first Elite Series in 2014. So
yeah,
that was not a hesitation at all. You do realize what you get for winning the U.S. Open, right, Brett?
Yes, I do. Okay. I do realize.
A simple one-word answer. I shouldn't have made it closed. Mark has always been working with me on the closed open-ended questions. After 10 years of doing this, I still have closed questions.
You're trying to trick me. I know.
No, I'm not trying to trick you. I really am not. I mean, I've had guys we've asked that question to a bunch of different guys and gotten surprise answers. Yours was rather definitive.
Yeah. Brett, I'm curious. So many guys we've seen on the West Coast, and I know Arizona is not on the water as far as the ocean and everything, but it's still, we consider it West Coast. We've seen some guys that have made the move to the Midwest or the South or anything like that. Have you ever considered doing that, or are you grounded and so comfortable in Arizona and it still works out from a scheduling standpoint so good for you that you would never consider ever doing that and leaving Arizona?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, home is home. I was born and raised in the Phoenix metro area, and I just love Arizona. I love the West Coast. I love seeing the mountains. I mean, I just what so many people don't understand is, in Arizona when it's 110 here, literally I can hop in my car in an hour and a half, be at 8,000 feet elevation. So we just have a real diverse climate. I love the desert. But on the other hand, Arizona is very diverse. I can, be up in the mountains real quick. So, I've thought about it, and it's just the way that I've been able to travel over the last few years, or last, I don't know, I guess 10 years, and just flying back and forth in between events. I just don't see myself ever moving.
Those sound like big dogs, Brett.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound doesn't sound like a poodle.
The dogs don't want to move either.
No. What is it? There sounds like
they
multiple.
just saw a butterfly. They just saw a butterfly go by the window, so that's why they're barking.
I get excited at butterflies too.
Yeah, I know. Well, we know, man.
Oh, jeez.
What kind of dogs you got?
We have a yellow lab and we call him the poodle doodle. He's a golden doodle.
Oh, so they're smart dogs.
Big
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah, I wouldn't say smart, but yeah, they're good boys.
All right, man. Brett, we really appreciate you taking time out. I know Matt, he's very excited about being a AAA in the U.S.
I'm
Open,
boat
man.
flipping everything. I can't wait till I have a 4-pound smallmouth on 5-pound sunline, and I get it up. My guy's freaking out, and I just go, boat flip!
Oh, no. Gosh, I hope I don't draw you.
I feel really sorry that whoever draws.
I'm just kidding.
Matthew.
I'm bringing the Zepcos.
Jeez.
Yeah. We all know. I mean, I'm just going to go apologize to whoever he draws.
All right, man. Well, I know it's been pretty crazy the last couple of weeks.
Thanks for waking me up. I thought I was done with talking about this stuff for this week, but you guys got me on my vacation.
We got like a year left to talk about it before it's normal.
Yeah.
No, it's all good, man. Anytime. I appreciate what you guys do, and we'll have some good coverage out there at the Open.
All right. Sounds good, man. Take care.
Yep. See you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, there you have it, Brett Hite. And you are, man. You're extremely fired up about this U.S. Open thing.
Oh, dude. Well, I haven't fished as a co-angler since I was 17.
Yeah.
And I like not having to stress out about taking the boat all the way out to Lake Mead. There's a lot of desert. I like being able to, show up and fish. And I really like that when I catch one, it's not a, oh, damn. It's a yes, because that AAA weight counts. I'm going out for the experience, the camaraderie, the stories. It'll be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. All right, next week, best of shows on Tuesday and Thursday. We will have the... the hotline set up.
Yeah, it's all on you.
All right, I will get that set up. I will try to get that set up over the weekend.
You'll be able to go to basszone.com. You'll be able to click on the banner.
Yeah.
Where you click on that top banner to get to the Bass Talk Live page on the Bass Zone. You can click on there. It'll give you the 1-800 number. Call in. You'll have 60 seconds. We'll compile it all at the end of a week and a half period that the phone lines will be open.
Yeah.
And then
great idea,
we'll
man.
pick the best one, send you a prize pack, but you'll get to listen to a lot of the fans, a lot of your guys' thoughts, which, I've got some emails that I have to get to.
Me too.
I'm very impressed with how the viewers of this show
very passionate
understand it, and the questions that they ask, they're smart questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I have yet to get an email that's just like, big dummies in fishing. Hey, look. I mean, it's people think a lot about this. There's a lot of thought put into this.
It's good stuff, and we appreciate everybody listening and watching. So we are off to the U.S. Open. We will have this set up. Don't forget, review us, rate us on iTunes. If you have not, for your chance at a $300 tackle pack, and we will go from there. So
also, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Bass Talk Live. That's where the replay is up that you can watch and listen to within 3 minutes after the show is over. You can watch all the archive shows there. You can access other content from Bass Talk Live and Bass Zone. So,
all right, we will be live a week from Sunday a week from Sunday, from Las Vegas, covering the sponsor showcase. Sunday, I believe it is 7 o'clock, maybe West Coast time, maybe 6 o'clock. I don't know.
I know the openings is 8 a.m. on Sundays.
Yeah, we will check out the schedule, but we will be live from the U.S. Open Sunday night. Everybody be safe. We will talk to you soon.